Backstory. I, a 29-year-old female, have known my now partner since I was young. He, now 30, was friends with my older brother. They are the same age, so he was around a lot. Him and I started seeing each other when I was 17 and he 19. We were just fooling around and then developed feelings. My partner had on one occasion slept with my twin sister when we were 14 and him 16, taking her first time. When my family found out about him and I was subsequently kicked out of home and moved to a different state. He and I broke up about 3 years later. After 8 years, we reconnected and have now been dating for over a year again, happily. The situation: my little brother is turning 21. I have been invited, and as per the invite, partners and one are welcome. I have since been told that my partner is unable to come because my sister will be there, and she has said if he is going, I won't be. My mom has said that unless she reconsiders, he won't be attending. For me to attend this party, it is an 18-hour drive, round trip, 9 there and 9 back. I only found out my partner isn't invited after asking Mom if we could stay at the house. It was never specifically mentioned. The last time my partner and I saw my family, we stayed at the house. So this wasn't a far-fetched request. I simply asked to make sure there was space, to be honest. I asked my mom to ask my sister to reconsider. My sister is adamant on her position. She is under the impression that when he and I started dating, when I was 17, that he was also dating her at the same time. Which was not the case. I read the messages 12 years ago. We have offered to sit down and talk about this on many occasions throughout the years. I have asked her to reconsider and stated that if she doesn't reconsider, I will not be attending the party myself. I don't feel safe doing the 18-hour drive alone, especially after a big drinking event. I also get panic attacks, and the last time I did a big drive alone, I had a panic attack in the bathroom, and the attendant was informed and checked on me. This was excruciatingly embarrassing and mortifying on so many levels. My family is aware of this instance and aware of how panic attacks affect me. My sister's solution to this was to suggest he drive with me for the 18 hours, drop me off and come back in a few days to pick me up. I said absolutely not. I'm not asking him to sit in a car with me for 18 hours as a chauffeur to say see you in a few days to drive me back. I find that incredibly rude and a disgusting way to treat someone. Due to my sister's response, I have repeated again that if she doesn't reconsider, I will not be attending, and then I will have nothing to do with her and go no contact. For example, she will have nothing to do with me, including any future children, with my partner or not. She believes she could be around him for the sake of the children. But I will refuse. For context, my sister is engaged to be married, has 2 children of her own, and would be traveling 4 or 5 hours at most 10-hour round trip to attend the party. Also, as a general pattern for my family, partners, girlfriends, boyfriends, serious or not, have always been invited to events with no questions asked. Would I be the a-hole for not attending if she doesn't reconsider? I am not making excuses for what I did when I was 17. Yes, I understand getting in a relationship with him was a betrayal. I had worked on reconnecting a relationship with her, which was going positively. He has also had a conversation with her via Messenger apologizing. It was only after we got back together that this was an issue. She was 14 and he was 16. Age of consent here is 16. Statutory abduction is not applicable. 2 years age gap at that age where the older is not in a position of authority. He was not in a position of authority in our lives. It was consensual and voluntary between the two of them. Update. I spoke to my little brother, the birthday boy, the person that should be dictating who is invited. Before getting into that, I understand that I was the a-hole when I was 17. I would like to point out that it does take a lot to get to that point of sleeping with someone your sister has slept with. It doesn't make it right, but it's already happened. Anyways, back to it. My little brother, he understands everyone's perspectives, understands that my sister is holding on to things, understands the need for me to have someone travel up with me. He said my partner was invited, but understands why my sister is taking her stance. At the end of the day, he would like both me and my sister there. He asked me if I could call my sister and try to talk things out and get her to reconsider. In our conversation, he admitted that he doesn't really get it when it comes to holding a grudge, but nonetheless, it's her decision to do so. I asked him if he would be upset if I didn't end up going because of this, and he said, well, yeah, but we will make up for it later. He understands that I need to have someone to help drive. It's a long drive. He remains completely neutral. I did not ask him to put his foot down and tell anyone what or who should be coming. He said if he is asked his opinion, he will share it diplomatically. He just wants to enjoy his birthday. After this phone call, I spoke to my sister. This conversation was heated from the get-go. It was extremely heated. As of now, I understand it is her perspective that she believes my partner cheated on her when we first got together, when we were 17. I asked her why she thought this, and her answer was, I'm not getting into it, I don't need to. I mentioned that she was with X at the time, and she said that didn't damn matter. There was obviously a connection between her and my partner. I mentioned her talking to him on multiple occasions after we broke up and a few years ago, and she said, no, I didn't. And I said, you did. I've seen the messages. He apologized and you accepted. You even sent him a photo of your daughter. She said, you can't keep bringing that up. It doesn't matter. I didn't have a conversation with him, and if I did, I blocked him straight after. This is incorrect, as she blocked him when me and him started seeing each other again. I asked her what it would take for us to move forward from this, and she said, I can have a relationship with you without him being involved. Which I agreed with, that absolutely can occur. But I'm also not going to pretend my relationship doesn't exist. He is a part of my life. She seemingly doesn't want that, doesn't want to be in the same room. I asked her why, and she said, are you serious? And I said yes. She said, because she simply doesn't want to be around him. I pointed out that he is a part of my life. She said if I end up having kids, she will reconsider and be a part of their lives but not his. That would be the point of reconsidering, for children. I tried to explain that those kids would be an extension of him, and she said so? And I said that he will be around, especially around his children. To which wasn't met well. She asked me to remember a certain trauma that was disclosed by her during the time I started seeing my partner the first time, and I said, yeah, but they are two scenarios. Her response was, but they aren't in my mind. Note this trauma has nothing to do with my partner, and it was only because it was disclosed during the time that I started seeing him when I was 17 that she joined them. I asked if she has considered therapy to separate the two. She said she doesn't need therapy. I reiterated that our brother would both like us to be there, but without the reconsidering of the stance, I wouldn't be able to go. It went on a fair bit of tangents, but I said I feel like I'm being punished for a silly choice at 17 over and over again, and she said it's not me and her, it's between him and her. I pointed out that there is still no resolve in this, and she doesn't care. I asked her if there is anything we can do to help, and she said not go. From the conversations, things have become less clear, and nothing has a reason other than I slept with him. No explanation as to why she thought they were together. I have no clear answers. I write this and ask, does it even matter though? Does what happened 12 years ago matter? The little particular details. I do think time heals wounds, and I'm not trying to sweep anything under the rug. I am happy to address it. I just need to know what I am addressing other than sleeping with him. I am no closer to answers than I was prior to the conversation. It won't change our relationship now, the Bahay. I do love him. We have both grown and made mistakes that were made when we were teenagers. It is what it is. Teenagers make mistakes. Our adult relationship, I won't be apologizing for. Note, I'm gonna go to bed, so responses will be non-existent until I wake up. Some relevant comments. Commenter. Should be up to your brother, who attends, not your sister. Write a final letter to your family. Explain one last time. Also tell them you will be going no contact with your sister, which will include if you have children, get married, etc. Personally, I would never touch anyone. My sister your sister must have felt extremely betrayed. But after all these years, she's being pretty and is making your family choose. Also gonna be honest, your family suck for checking you out if she really wasn't seeing him. Poster replies, I agree that it was a betrayal when we were teens. I don't dispute that at all. After I reconnected with my family, I apologized and worked hard to reestablish a relationship with my sister. She has also a few years ago, after her first child, had a quick messenger chat with my partner, to which he also apologized for everything that transpired, and it ended extremely civilly. It wasn't until we got back together that she has had this hard boundary. Commenter, there's a lot of missing information here. You claim that they had make love when she was 14, heavily implying it was a one-off, and then that you started dating him 3 years later and you were subsequently kicked out of home. Was this because of your relationship with him? Because frankly, your family is either extremely bizarre and toxic, or you are straight up misrepresenting what happened. Your family all appears okay with her stance. Why exactly is that, if the truth of the matter is that they slept together 3 years before your relationship with him? Why does she think that they were dating at the time? Does she think they'd been dating continuously since they had make love 3 years before? Given your family's stance, I don't find your recitation to be believable. Please provide more information. Poster replies, they have only had make love once when she was 14. I know this as he subsequently moved interstate afterwards within a week. At the time, I did not know of the flirting after he moved. It was brief, but it was there. I only became aware of that after he and I had started seeing each other, and after I was kicked out. It was 3 weeks into our relationship that I was kicked out. Very quick. I think I spent like 2 nights actually staying at his house prior to being kicked out. We didn't tell my family, and I was kicked out when they became aware. I was obviously not great at keeping secrets at 17. When he returned to our area, he came around a lot as he was friends with my brother. I don't know, due to being kicked out, how exactly she thought he was moving back to be with her. She was actively dating other people during the time. I do know that when we started seeing each other, I made it very, very clear that if something had happened in recent times, from when he had moved back to us dating, that it would not be happening. And he has always said nothing happened. The messages that I have read also made me confident that nothing was happening. Yes, they spoke, but nothing flirtatious from my perspective. I understand that this is from my perspective, and those messages are long gone now. My perspective as a teenager as to what it is now may be different if I were to read those messages again. That's the nature of emotional intelligence. There were a lot of issues with my family, and our traumas are still being unpacked. Update. After speaking to my sister and my brother, I gave my sister some time to think about reconsidering her stance. She understands that I am unable to travel alone. This was well understood amongst the family. I needed to give a deadline, as I would need to organize a house sitter. We have 2 cats and a dog. Dogs can come with us, but cats cannot. I outlined that I needed to know by Friday, and if I don't receive a response, then I will be assuming no response is no reconsidering. I encouraged her to talk to whoever she needs to. However, I emphasized that speaking to our little brother and asking what he wants should be the priority. She gloriously believes that agreeing to pick me up and drive me there and back from her place to mine is 11 hours. Then to Mum's would be an additional 9 equal 20-hour trip is a solution to this issue. I said that it is absurd to think that I would even ask someone to drive that. She then decided, well, it'll pay for a hotel for you and him, which I considered. At which I stated that, well, I would be spending my time equally and sleeping at the hotel. My partner would drop me off and pick me up after the party. She proceeded to get mad at this. Also, me sister has a history of throwing these scenarios into people's faces, anything money related, both publicly and privately. After she got mad at me, I decided to not accept this resolution either. I cannot afford the hotel along with the pet sitting, along with the travel costs, food, etc. Mum has and would pay for food for everyone staying at the house, so staying there cuts food-related costs. She started going on about, oh, so it is about having him there, and I explained no. The first resolution isn't safe for anyone to do, driving 20 hours each way, and the second resolution is forcing me into a position that historically gets thrown in my face. If I can't afford it, I will not be able to come. Please note, I am currently on a disability payment after a workplace injury, which is why I get panic attacks. I do not earn a lot. I budget well for what I get and can afford things when I plan for them. I did not plan for a hotel, but planned for other related costs, petrol, and some food. The result is, I won't be attending, and my little brother is upset about this, but he understands. I have not spoken to my sister since I gave her the deadline to let me know her decision. I'll let Mum know via text and likely won't get a response. My stance is now that I will be stepping away from them for my own sake. I don't believe that this is healthy for me or my sister. My sister can have her boundaries and I will respect them, but I don't think she can have such strong boundaries and still expect me to be a part of her life. He is a big part of my life and I don't think she can move past it, and that's okay. I don't feel I need to apologize for my adult relationship now, and I never will feel that need. I don't understand why 12 years later, this is a big thing. There is no choosing between them when she has 2 beautiful children and a soon-to-be husband. We have both had relationships over the 15 years. I do think it's time to move on. My sister and my relationship has been strained for a bit prior to getting back into a relationship with him for other reasons. Again, reasons I will not disclose because of trauma. To clarify some points, there has never ever been any mention of molestation allegations against him ever made. I 100% believe if there were allegations, my mother would have been the first one to know. She would not allow him in the house if this was to happen. I know this due to reasons that I will not disclose. Simply put, we have all had some sort of trauma. Secondly, holy crap, some people feel the need to message me telling me to cams and other disgusting things. Get help. Slinging the moral code in my face and then ending it with some feral crap makes your opinion null and void. Some relevant comments. Commenter: I need to ask, why would you want to sleep with someone who already slept with your sister? I wouldn't do it even if someone paid me a lot for it. He sounds like a real creep. Couldn't be with sister one, liked the look, and came back for the second version. That's just, poster replies. Simply put, when I was 17, he and I had banter. It was a bit of fun that turned into feelings. I didn't care if my sister had slept with him. I was kicked out 3 weeks into our relationship. It sort of forced the relationship more so as I had nowhere else to go, and I stayed with him. 3 months later, he was offered a job by his dad interstate, and I chose to move with him. I don't think for a second that if the option was there to be with him again, that she wouldn't have taken it, regardless of whether she was with someone else or not. The option wasn't there. If he wanted it to be there, it would have been there. Now, as adults, we have both grown. The banter and fun is still there. We have known each other for a very long time, and that comes with understanding and patience. I genuinely care about him and love him as an adult. Did we screw up as teens? Yes, but as adults, I didn't think it would be this big of a thing.